Okay, I think we are live. Welcome to what I think is the 19th live chat that I've done. So much to discuss. We're going to talk about UFC 269. What is the main event? I have a good idea to go through that, and I think I know what will be the main event for UFC 269. We will talk about Edson Barboza versus Giga Chikadze this weekend at UFC Vegas 35. We'll talk about the Jared Cannonier versus Kelvin Gastelum decision and where Gastelum may or may not go from here in the middleweight division. And then, of course, all your MMA related questions. If you're here live, do me a favor, like the stream. I really appreciate it. If you're watching this in the future, also like the video. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, if you weren't here live and you're watching this replay and you have any questions, just comment them down below and we'll talk about them next week. If I don't do, if it's not some type of breaking news or something like that I'll talk about on here. But if I miss it and there's something you want me to talk about, comment for next week and I'll talk about it in next week's live chat. Also, some quick notes. I do have shirts available. If you guys want to order it, that'd be awesome. The link is in the description. I will be offering memberships soon. I was planning on telling you guys right now that they're available, but unfortunately, because of YouTube has to review it or whatever, I thought it would be done by now, but it's not officially approved yet. You guys will get the loyalty badges, which I showed you guys in the community tab. I posted it the other day. And you'll also get some custom emojis. And I have one more emoji getting made right now as we speak that I think you guys will love. So if you're watching this, as the replay, the memberships might be available. If you're watching this live, guys, be on the lookout because memberships are going to be available to help support the channel probably by the end of the today, I would think. I thought it was going to be available by the time the live chat was done. Once you set up your membership, you have to submit it to YouTube for review. And I did it last night, and it was approved last night. But then I realized I had to change something, and when I went in and changed something, it had to be re-reviewed. So even though it only took 2 hours to review last night, it's now been like 9-10 hours, and it's still not been approved yet. So if there is memberships available, go join, help support the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Who knows? Maybe I'll be able to launch it while we're on this live stream. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to get into something in a minute. But if you guys have any questions, just leave them in the chat, and I will read every single one of them before the end of this stream. So if you guys have any questions, put it in the chat. If there's any breaking news while I'm on this live chat, make sure to put it in the chat because I'll miss it. So first off, I put it in the title of the video, UFC 269, what is the main event? And I thought about making a video about this earlier today. I had this idea to make a video. But then I thought this would be perfect to talk about on the live stream because I want to go through every single champion in the UFC right now. If they have a fight, I'll tell you which fight they have and who they're fighting and when they're fighting. If they don't have a fight, I'll tell you, who I think they should fight. And then at the end of it, I'll tell you who I think will be the main event of UFC 269. We have main events all the way up till the November card, UFC 268, which will be Kamaru Usman defending his welterweight title against Colby Covington, but we don't know what's going to be for 269 in December. Most likely it will be in December. Sometimes, occasionally they skip that, but I don't think that they will. So first off, before I get to that, I see a message over here by Ginge that says haircut ? Yes, my friend. I was starting to look like a hobo. I've been meaning to get haircuts more often, but it's just one of those things I'll put off, and the next thing you know, I'm like, what am I doing? My hair is so long. So we are fresh. We have a nice haircut, nice beard trim. And again, I'm gonna talk about UFC 269. Fill the chat with questions, and I will read every single message after I get through talking about UFC 269. So first off, the first champion is you have Brandon Moreno, the flyweight champion. Brandon Moreno obviously does not have a fight yet. There's been talk of so many different opponents. There's talk of the Deiveson Figueiredo trilogy. So he took the belt off Deiveson Figueiredo, I think, at UFC 263 in June. Absolutely outclassed Figueiredo. They fought in December. Both of them were on short notice. We all know that. It was like a 2 or 3 week turnaround. Brandon Moreno and Deiveson fought on the same card. Then they turned around 3 weeks later, fought in December. It went to a draw, but only because Figueiredo had a point taken. I don't remember what he did to get that point taken, but he had a point taken. Otherwise, most likely Figueiredo would have won the decision. So it was a draw. They rematched it in June, and Brandon Moreno just came out and absolutely outclassed him and eventually submitted him in the second round, I believe. So Brandon Moreno currently doesn't have a fight. Who should he fight? Deiveson Figueiredo, there's been talk of that. I don't want to see that trilogy. He just outclassed him. Deiveson Figueiredo's got to go win a couple fights or at least one fight against a respected contender to earn a shot back at Brandon Moreno. After what happened in that last fight, I don't know if something was off, but Figueiredo's not like he's been, 5, 6 title defenses deep, and he earns that respect of being able to get a rematch. So Brandon Moreno is free. I don't think he should trilogy fight or have a trilogy fight with Deiveson. But there are some other options. There was talk of Askar Askarov was going to fight Alex Perez. That didn't happen. There was talks of the winner of that fight was going to be the number one contender, but that fight got canceled. So I don't think Askar Askarov, he's missed weight in his last fight. I don't think he deserves a title shot right now. Then you had talk of Cody Garbrandt, which I don't think by any means that Cody Garbrandt should be fighting for, a flyweight title at this point in time. He's coming off a loss at bantamweight. He's won like 1 out of his last 5. There's no way he should move down to 125 and fight for a title without at least one win. And the UFC obviously agrees with me because he's fighting Kai Kara France, I believe in November or December. So Cody Garbrandt's off the list. So who else could it be? I think most likely it's going to be Pantoja. Pantoja just fought Brandon Royval last week. He looked very impressive. He has 2 wins over Brandon Moreno. I think one of them was a decision win. The other one was a submission win. And it just makes a lot of sense. I mean, how often are you going to see a trilogy fight where the champion has already lost to the contender 2 times? So I think that fight makes perfect sense. I think Brandon Moreno fights Alexandre Pantoja next. And I think you guys will probably agree with me. So Brandon Moreno versus Pantoja is probably next in the flyweight division. But will it be on 269? We'll get to that in a minute. So next, you have Aljamain Sterling, the bantamweight champion, the undisputed bantamweight champion. Aljamain Sterling is fighting Petr Yan on October 30th at UFC 267. Obviously, that's the rematch that, I guess everyone wants to see. It ended. The first fight was awesome. I know a lot of people, talk about Yan really beat the brakes off him, but those first 2 rounds were so much fun with Sterling trying to crowd him. I think most likely Yan wins that rematch. I think he'll be a heavy favorite. I'm a big Yan believer, so it would be hard for me to pick against him. So obviously that fight isn't going to be UFC 269. These 2 are going to fight at the end of October, so almost November at that point in time, right before Halloween. And they're probably not going to fight. No matter who wins that fight, they're probably not going to fight the rest of the year after that. So I'm really looking forward to that fight, but that's obviously not going to be UFC 269. Next, you have the featherweight champion, Alexander Volkanovsky. Obviously, his next fight is coming up on the next UFC pay-per-view, UFC 266. He is going to be fighting Brian Ortega. I'm really looking forward to this fight. Only a couple weeks away, and I'll be doing a breakdown and prediction for that very fight. It's crazy the position that Brian Ortega's in, considering he's only 1 fight removed from that absolute slaughtering by Max Holloway. I mean, who would have thought that 1 fight removed from that, he'd be fighting for a title? So he took like 2 years off. He came back. He beat up Korean Zombie in spectacular fashion. The time off did him well. And Brian Ortega will be fighting Volkanovsky at UFC 266. I believe that is September 25th, but I don't have it right in front of me. But either way, a couple weeks away. Next, you have the lightweight champion, Charles Oliveira, who is free. He does not currently have a fight. Well, who is he fighting next? Most likely it's going to be Dustin Poirier. Poirier is coming off those 2 wins over Conor McGregor. Interim champion. He has a win over Justin Gaethje. Habib is retired. It just makes the most sense. I think that's the fight to make. Everybody else is tied up right now other than Beneil Dariush. Justin Gaethje's fighting Michael Chandler in November. Islam Makhachev's fighting RDA. Tony Ferguson's on a 3-fight losing skid. So if it's not Dustin Poirier, for whatever reason, I know people have been speculating that, that he may forego a title shot and go fight Nate Diaz at 170 or wait for Conor McGregor the 4th time. I think Dustin Poirier ultimately takes that fight. And I think we see Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier. Now, the timetable for that, will that be UFC 269? We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's go through the rest of the champions. Kamaru Usman, I am so excited for this fight. versus Colby Covington 2 happens the main event of UFC 268, November 6th, I believe that is. I mean, who's not looking forward to this rematch? The first fight was one of the best fights of that year. And I'm just so looking forward to it. Supposedly it's supposed to be at MSG. That card is going to be at least Usman versus Covington 2, Gaethje versus Chandler, and also Luke Rockhold versus Sean Strickland. That fight is currently announced. All those fights are currently announced for UFC 268. So we'll see that in a mere, 3 months or so. So I'm really looking forward to that rematch, but obviously that's not going to be the main event for UFC 269. Next up, you have the middleweight champion, Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya, we all know who he's fighting next. He was supposed to fight Robert Whitaker. Robert Whitaker, the timetable didn't work out for him to fight in June, so Marvin Vettori, who was the next most deserving over Robert Whitaker, got the shot in June, and now it's a foregone conclusion that Robert Whitaker is fighting next for the belt. Ever since losing his belt, he's fought contender after contender and just absolutely outclassed them. He beat Darren Till, he beat Kelvin Gastelum, and Jared Cannonier. And by the way, guys, anybody who's just joining me, I'm going through who I think is going to be the UFC 269 main event right now. Any questions or anything you want me to talk about, just put it in the chat, and I will read every single message here in a minute. And do me a favor, if you're just joining me, also like the stream. I really appreciate it. So Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whitaker. I put out a video maybe a month ago or so where I was very hopeful. The UFC loves to stack the MSG card, and they haven't been there in a while because of everything going on in the world. And I really, really, really thought there was a chance that, and I talked about this in one of my other live chats, that there was a chance we got Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whitaker 2 on that UFC 268 card, just because the UFC likes to stack that card. Well, there was a story that came out that supposedly they were trying to do that, and it's not going to happen because Israel Adesanya and Robert Whitaker obviously both, they don't live in the United States, and there's issues getting people travel visas and stuff like that with everything's going on. So supposedly that's getting pushed back to 2022. Next, you have Jan Blachowicz. He's defending his light heavyweight championship against Glover Teixeira. That's going down October 30th, UFC 267. The same card as Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling, too. Great fight. Can't wait for it. Should be a lot of fun. And I really think, and if you guys have listened to me for a while now, I think Yuri Prohaska and Alexander Rakic are the future of that division. But it's just so cool to see Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira fighting for a belt. I mean, both guys in their 40s. This is going to be Glover Teixeira's last title shot, without a doubt. He fought for the title back in 2014. It's crazy that he's fighting for the title 7 years later. Should be a fun fight, and it's an interesting clash of styles because Glover Teixeira has been more grappling, top game heavy, and Jan Blachowicz has just been knocking people dead as of late, coming off that spectacular win. I know he went to decision, but coming off that great win over Israel Adesanya where a lot of people counted him out. Next, you have Francis Ngannou. He is currently free. He does not have a fight booked. We know who he's most likely fighting next. Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane's now the interim champion with a win over Derek Lewis, an interim belt that wasn't really needed. I think this is a possibility for UFC 269 just because Francis Ngannou was ready to go in September. He wanted to wait till September to fight. The UFC needed a main event for the UFC 265 show, and it is what it is. I mean, I've talked about this, almost till I'm nauseous at this point. It was a meaningless interim belt. I mean, it is meaningless, but at the same time, it was just forced. It wasn't really necessary at this point in time. But it is what it is. They're going to do champion versus champion, and Francis Ngannou versus Ciryl Gane should be a fun fight. Ciryl Gane, is an active guy, but you kind of have that John Jones mix in there. If somehow the UFC came to terms with John Jones, I would not put it past the UFC to do a Francis Ngannou John Jones while Ciryl Gane stays the interim heavyweight champion, and we've seen stuff like that before. Next, you have, and I'm just reading through the UFC's website right now. So this is, it's kind of in order, but now it starts with the women's divisions by weight. Next, you have Rose Namajunas. Obviously, she got that massive win over Weili Zhang, the head kick KO. UFC 261. Who is she going to fight next? So she has a lot of options. I mean, the Weili Zhang rematch is there. I think a lot of people want to see that. I think the UFC is interested in trying to run that back. And, they obviously want to, broaden the UFC in China. So they're maybe hoping that Weili Zhang can get that belt back. It was kind of, it's not a fluke knockout by any means. Rose won that fight, but the fight didn't play out. And whenever you have those fights that don't last long, there's always some question of how would it have went if this one strike didn't land. I personally think Weili Zhang should fight Joanna Jędrzejczyk. We should get that second fight between those two. One of the best fights of 2020 was Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk. And then Carla Esparza should be fighting Rose Namajunas. But who knows what the UFC is going to do. It's going to be one of those two matchups. And who knows if it'll be before the end of the year. But I'm going to get to all that in a minute. I'm going to talk about, because I really think I do know what UFC 269 main event will have. But I will get to that in a second. Next, you have Valentina Shevchenko. She's fighting Lauren Murphy on UFC 266. Most likely going to be a slaughtering. Not much to say about that other than Valentina's just clearing out the division, and it's time to see her fight Amanda Nunez in the trilogy. Next, you have the bantamweight champion Amanda Nunez. She should be fighting Juliana Pena rather soon. She pulled out of UFC 265. That's obviously her next fight. And then you also have her as the featherweight champion. I don't know who she fights at featherweight, so I'm not even going to get into that. That division doesn't even exist. All right, so now we've gone through every division in the UFC, and I've basically, told you if they don't have a fight, who I think they're going to fight next. Now let's get into the point of who is going to be the main event of UFC 269. And in my personal opinion, if I had a guess, and again, who knows what could be, but I really think I'm going to be right on this. I think, and I'm going to predict, and I want you guys to remember this if it does happen, I think the main event of UFC 269 in December will be Charles Oliveira defending his lightweight belt against Dustin Poirier. It just makes perfect sense. Oliveira won the belt in May, so that's going to be a decent amount of time off. He's going to want to fight again before the end of the year, I would assume. Dustin Poirier just won in July, took very little damage in that fight. I know he wanted some time off, but still he'll be able to get a couple months off before he really gets back into hard training. And I think that's the fight to happen in the main event of UFC 269, and I love that fight. Dustin Poirier's mentioned it in interviews that supposedly there's been some talk of him fighting Oliveira in December. I think I heard Oliveira say something about that previously. And I just love that fight. And I really do hope that's the main event. I want to see that before the end of the year. I think the one thing that really sucks about being an MMA fan, and it's not the end of the world, but when we watch these fights on Fight Night, we get these amazing fights, and then we have no idea how long it's going to be till, the next time that specific fighter fights. And it's kind of heartbreaking because sometimes it can be a year. Sometimes it can be a quick turnaround and they can fight in a month. But I think this fight makes sense. It's the right time frame. I think Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier will be the main event of UFC 269. But I wanted to give you another matchup, which I think will be the co-main event of that card. If they don't do it, they might do it on UFC 268 just because they want to stack it with title fights. But I think the co-main event on that card will be Brandon Moreno versus Alexandre Pantoja. I think that makes perfect sense. Pantoja mentioned the December time frame. I think Brandon Moreno would be okay with that. He fought in June. So I think that would be the co-main event, and I love that fight. So you heard it here first from the MMA Joey YouTube channel. The main event, UFC 269, Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier for the lightweight championship. Co-main event, Brandon Moreno versus Alexandre Pantoja for the flyweight belt. So now, before I get into any of the other things I put in the thing, I'm going to read some of your guys' comments. And just keep filling the chat with questions, guys. If you have any questions or topics you want me to talk about, I'll get to them before the end of this stream. So I didn't get a notification. Something told me to check YouTube. You're the man, Coke Jones. Appreciate you. Now I'm getting your notifications live. Yeah, YouTube's weird with the notifications. Joey with the fresh trim. Yes, you like it. Now I don't look like a hobo anymore. Always late, if ever. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it was something I said. Joey, nice cut. Thank you, Alana. I really appreciate it. Sif Master 77. Hey, Joey, looking fresh today. today. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I love hearing that. I honestly been meaning to get haircuts more often, but sometimes like I'll put it off and I'll be I'll do it next week and next week, and then my hair gets so long, and I hate having my hair long, honestly. Um, I was thinking about it, when I was trimming up my beard. I got my hair cut at, went to a hair cuttery and got my hair cut, but then I came home and I trimmed up my beard. And I was thinking about, would I shave off my beard, especially considering it's my trademark for the MMA Joey channel. If anybody wants to send a super chat donation of $100, I will shave off my entire beard for the next live chat. We won't get into conspiracy theories, but I think Figgy may have taken a dive. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. What's going on, Toro Brown? With the everyone's mentioned the haircut today, guys. I appreciate you. I think it'll be Justin next after he beats Chandler. Dustin might get the money fight. We will see. Tiramisu, fresh cut. Thank you. I appreciate it. The Patty Pimlet hype train is mad. I know. I'm just seeing his name everywhere. I really got to look into him more. I know who he is. But, I mean, there's nothing I can really say. This happens with some fighters. It happens all the time. It happened with Conor before he came in the UFC. When he was making his debut, a lot of people were talking about him. It is what it is. Whenever I read his last name, I always read it as like Pimple. And it's disgusting. But it is mad. What's with the plain Fruit of the Loom shirt? No MMA Joey swag? I don't know. I didn't want to wear it every single live stream, and you guys just look at me wearing the same shirt all the time. And I like plain shirts, so it is what it is. I feel they're going to try to stack UFC 269. They should make it 2 or 3 title fight card. They could have Moreno versus Pantoja, Rose Whaley 2 in the main event, Olives versus Dustin. I agree. I don't know about 3 title fights because they may stack UFC 268. So I don't know if they'll have the amount of champions. Let me take a drink real quick. Guys, if you weren't here when I started the stream, probably tonight, if not definitely tomorrow, I will be offering a small membership for the MMA Joey channel. YouTube's got to approve it. I might be even get the approval email while I'm on here. I've been looking out for it. It's just a way to support the channel. You guys will get membership badges that'll pop up next to your name. Also, custom emojis. I paid some guy to make some emojis. I posted them on the community tab on my YouTube channel if you guys want to go take a look at them. I currently got Nate Diaz, Habib, and I got Dana White screaming, and you'll be able to use them within the live chats. And I got another one coming that I think is going to be the best emoji, and I think a lot of people are going to be like, I'm just going to support this channel and sign up for a membership just because I want that emoji. So that one still, I haven't gotten it yet. I paid some guy to make them, but it's all based on MMA moments. But if you guys see the membership available later tonight, be one of the first people to be an OG member of the MMA Joey channel, and I appreciate your support. Keep filling the chat with questions. In a second, I'm going to talk about Giga versus Barboza, but let me read a couple more of these. Patty best win now after all the stuff he's talked and all the hype. Yeah, he better win. Otherwise, it's all going to come crashing down. Chandler said he's not getting the vaccine, but he said he signed the contract. Do you know what's going on there? Him and Gaethje are supposed to fight in New York, and the vaccine is required. Well, I think you're missing a key feature. First off, I believe the UFC will figure it out regardless. Second off, from everything I've seen, most places, whether it be New York or wherever, you have 2 options. You have to either prove that you have it or you have to get a negative test. So a lot of times if you want to travel out of the country, you have to have a negative test within the 24 hours. So my guess is if he doesn't want to get it for whatever reason, he just gets a negative test on the day of the fight and he's able to enter the arena. I think it'll happen. I think a lot of people are worried about it. Depending on what happens with, I don't want to talk about it too much because that's some stuff that gets your channel demonetized. But, depending on what's going on in the world, there's a chance it doesn't happen at MSG just because New York, there's so many large concentrations of people and they've had problems. But we will see. But I wouldn't worry about that. I think one way or another, It's not going to get canceled as far as that fight in particular. It will happen. It's just a matter of the logistics of it, and they will figure it out. By the way, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you guys. I just want to pull up one more thing, and then I'm going to talk about. Sometimes I make these titles, and I'm like, I forgot to talk about that. I don't like the idea of keep putting 2 or 3 title. No, they should just spread the title fight out. But that's my opinion. I like it occasionally, but also I'm getting really sick of these fight night cards that have like one decent fight as far as relevant. I'm not talking about how the fight plays out. We can have a terrible card of relevancy and still have great fights. But it's not the same, when you have 2 guys in an amazing fight, but it's meaningless in the scheme of the division. It's not as good as if you have 2 guys in a great fight and it means something. There's something on the line. So I think, the UFC, needs to do a better job of stacking the majority of cards. And I think they have the roster to do it. What's the main event of 269? Due to Swag Boy, I went through the entire thing on here, but I'm going to tell you again just because in case you missed it. I think it will be Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier will be the main event of 269. That's my personal opinion. I just think it makes sense. I went through all the champions and gave you guys the most logical matchups. Did you see Kevin Lee talking stuff about Tony Ferguson? No, I did not. I must have missed that. But can people stop dancing on Tony Ferguson's grave? I mean, this guy has fought everyone under the sun. And, he's fought nothing but savages in his last 3 fights. Give the guy a break, man. Can we stop? And I just don't think it's a good look when you're picking on a fighter who's on a down streak. It just doesn't look good. And Kevin Lee, with his inconsistent, body of work, he just needs to shut up. You got beat up by Tony Ferguson. So quickly, specifically because I put it in the title, let's talk about Edson Barboza versus Giga Chikadze. I did a full prediction video for it, and if you guys want to, please check that out afterwards. I work hard on those prediction videos, so I appreciate that you guys go watch them. It really helps support the channel. But I wanted to talk about it because I'm curious what you guys think. And please put in the chat right now, who do you think is going to win that fight? Edson Barboza or Giga Chikadze? Sometimes I say it Giga, sometimes I say it Giga. I'm not sure the right way to say it, but I'm just flipping out right now with the pronunciation. Sometimes I do a good job, sometimes I don't. But put in that chat who you think is going to win. But I feel like a lot of people are picking Giga, but the body of work is not there. He's looked great in some of his fights, and his striking looks on point. But who has he fought? It's only been Cub Swanson. Now, don't get me wrong. I love this fight. I'm not complaining about the fight. But at the same time, I mean, I just don't get how somebody can confidently say Giga Chikadze is going to win this fight. Edson Barboza was an animal at lightweight, and he's an animal at featherweight. And it's just one of those things where it's the fight to make because Edson Barboza kind of just made his way to featherweight. He's on a decent streak at featherweight right now. Giga has a lot of hype behind him, and he's also of age. He's not a young guy. And if Giga can get a win over Edson Barboza, that's huge. I think with a win over Edson Barboza, maybe 2 fights away from a title shot. But to be honest, a win over Edson Barboza means a lot in my book. Edson is just so good. He's been around forever. The body of work that he has, his resume. I mean, he has won. And when I say this, I don't mean in terms of wins. And I know that's how it's going to sound a little bit, but he does have good wins too. But his resume in terms of quality fighters that he's fought, I don't know if anyone beats it. He's fought Habib Nurmagomedov. He's fought Dustin Poirier, I believe. He's fought Justin Gaethje. He's fought everyone under the sun, and it's just, for him to move down to 45, I believe, and I don't think anybody else is saying this, so this is the one channel you will hear this from. I think Edson Barboza could be a 145-pound champion. He's got to do it soon, though. So he's got to start with a big win over Giga Chikadze. I think the win over Shane Burgos was very good, but he's got to get this win. This is a must-win for Edson Barboza because if he loses to Giga, where does he go from there? It's not good. I mean, maybe he's still in the top 10, but let me pull up the rankings real quick before I forget. And by the way, if you're watching live in the chat, let me know. Do you guys want me to stream the fights this Saturday? I usually do some of the smaller fight night cards. So if you guys want me to, let me know in the chat. If you're watching this in the future, just comment it down below and let me know. Yeah, stream UFC Vegas 35, and I will, as long as a couple people want me to do it. But if you look at the rankings, Edson Barboza is number 9. I think he's better than Dan Ige. I think he beat Dan Ige. They fought. I know he lost close split decision, but I think he beat Dan Ige. Josh Emmett hasn't fought. He's been inactive, and I think he's better than Josh Emmett. I think he's better than Arnold Allen, and I think him and Calvin Kattar is a toss-up. So arguably, Edson Barboza, even though he's only ranked number 9, I really believe that he's top 5 caliber right now in the featherweight division. And if you really want to look at some of the other guys within the top 5, I think Edson Barboza has a decent chance to beat every single person in the top 5. The only person, there's 2 people that I would give him a smaller chance to beat. So let's just, I'm not 100% committed to these numbers. I'm coming with them off the top of my head. I think him and Calvin Kattar is 50-50. I think him and Chan Sung Jung is probably 50-50. I think him and Yair Rodriguez, I would probably favor Edson Barboza in that fight against Yair Rodriguez, and that would be an amazing fight. I mean, who wouldn't want? I never even thought of that. Give me Edson Barboza versus Yair Rodriguez next. But I think that's could be a 50-50, or I would favor Edson. Brian Ortega, 50-50, or I favor Edson. Max Holloway is when you start getting into, I would say 70-30. I would feel Max Holloway. And again, I'm coming up with these numbers off the top of my head, so don't crucify me. And then Alexander Volkanovsky, same thing. I would say 70-30. I would favor Volkanovsky. So, Edson's, future is bright at 145. It really is. It really, really is. And it starts with a win over Chikadze this weekend. So, I think he has the skills to pull it off. I don't see where Giga can beat him. If it comes down to the grappling, I believe Edson Barboza has enough, as far as skill-wise with takedowns, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I think he can beat Giga in the grappling aspect. The striking, I don't think there's anybody in the world that Edson Barboza can't strike with MMA-wise. So I just don't see how he gets it done. And people think Giga's this young, up-and-coming guy, but he's basically, he's only 2 years younger than Edson Barboza. So UFC Vegas 35 is this Saturday. The main event's very, very compelling. You also have Kevin Lee versus Daniel Rodriguez, and that's a tough fight. Kevin Lee was originally supposed to fight Sean Brady, and Kevin Lee, and I've talked about fighters like this quite a bit, Kevin Lee can be a world champion on one night, world championship caliber on one night, and then on the very next night, not even in the top 10. He's very inconsistent. He reminds me of Michael Johnson. He reminds me of Bobby Green. There's a long list of guys like that who, they look like a world beater. I mean, if Kevin Lee doesn't gas out against Tony Ferguson, for whatever reason, there was talk that he had staph. But if he doesn't gas out against Tony Ferguson, he's whooping Tony Ferguson, and he's claiming that interim lightweight belt. And then maybe he goes on to do who knows what. But Daniel Rodriguez is so tough. He's good. He's got good striking. I favor Kevin Lee. I don't think I'm going to do a full prediction video for the fight. Just because I really like to go super in depth, and I haven't, done enough really. And it's already getting later in the week. It's already Wednesday, so it doesn't have enough time. But I think either guy can win, but I'm going with Kevin Lee. I want to see Kevin Lee do something at welterweight because I've always loved his skill set. But I respect him for taking the Sean Brady fight and also taking the, Daniel Rodriguez fight. It's a tough fight. But the card leaves a lot to be desired. There's the Ultimate Fighter finale, but, the one guy in the one finale is out who's supposed to be in the finale. It's just like, oh my God, you know what I mean? We ruined I just feel like if I watched The Ultimate Fighter, I'd feel robbed right now. The guy that's supposed to be in the finale isn't. Okay, let me get back to reading some of your guys' chat. By the way, guys, if I'm talking about anything, just keep posting in the chat any questions. I'm going to read every single message. I always do. Let's see. Duda Swag Boy. Oh, did you... by the way, appreciate your video. Really helps out UFC fans. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you watching the videos. I really do. It means a lot to me that you guys enjoy the content. I really can't believe it. You know, this channel has kind of blown up. You know, it's not crazy. It's almost 1,200 subscribers right now. I usually like to say on the live stream, so I can go back and look. Right now, I'm at 1,147 subscribers exactly. If you guys know anyone who likes MMA, send on my channel. Tell them to subscribe. Please like the videos when you watch them. If you guys want to help support the channel, please, no matter what, when you watch the videos, as long as you did like them, you know, personally, like them for me. It helps the channel. It helps push the YouTube algorithm, pushes the video to more people, and it really helps me out. So if you guys can do that, whenever you watch my videos, just make sure to like it. It's a simple thing, but I really appreciate it. Dino, you should get an Instagram, Joey. I am working on it, man. I promise within 1 month, I will have an MMA Joey Instagram. I promise. A lot of people have asked me that. And it just hasn't came yet. You know, I've been working on other things. I got the t-shirts. The link is in the description if you guys want to get one. I'm working on the memberships. They will be available today. So at some point today, go become an MMA Joey member. I really appreciate it, and that would help support the channel. Eventually, a goal is to do this as like a full-time thing, cover MMA, talk about every fight, you know, and you guys have no idea the amount of things that I would be putting into this channel if I could do something like this, like for like a full-time thing. But that'll come in time. I plan on eventually growing this channel. I don't care how long it takes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. I don't care. This channel, the MMA Joey channel, and I will come back and look at this specific video. Remember, I plan on getting over 100,000 subscribers on this channel. So you guys are only just the start. I appreciate every single one of you. It means a lot to me that you guys sit here and, you know, want to talk about MMA for, you know, an hour and a half every week. Let's see. Tora Brown, I'm going with Barboza. Okay. My only problem with Khabib is that he never fought at his natural weight class, and he never fought a great grappler. When he was scheduled to he pulled out like against Cowboy and Tony. Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't consider Cowboy or Tony really a great grappler. They have good jiu-jitsu, but I get what you're saying, and I'm with you. I would have loved to see him fight a great wrestler, but they don't exist. I mean, who's a great wrestler in the lightweight division that was top ranked at any point in time when Khabib was champion? I mean, I know right now you could talk maybe Gregor Gillespie's just barely outside the top 10, you know, but he would have never fought for a belt, and he's probably never going to fight for a belt, honestly. So I get what you're saying, but, you know, and I was sad about the Tony Ferguson fight never happened, but even as a Tony Ferguson fanboy, and this was before, you can take away the 3 losses, you erase them from my memory, Tony Ferguson would have got the brakes beat off him by Habib Nurmagomedov. And I said that before, and even when I still wanted to see the fight. Because what made the Khabib Ferguson fight so compelling to me is I knew Habib would beat the brakes off him. I knew he would take him down, he would get him down with ease. I mean, if Danny Castillo can hold you down for 3 rounds, what do you think Habib Nurmagomedov's going to do? But what made the fight so compelling for me is Tony Ferguson' will to survive and his will to never accept the position. So he was going to be throwing elbows off his back. He was constantly going to be looking for submission. But to be honest, I think eventually he would have got finished. You know, as hard as that is for me to say, I think he eventually would have got finished. I've got D-Rod beating Kevin Lee. If he can stuff the takedowns, he'll piece him up. Let's not forget Kevin Lee lost to Al Icon to strike twice in the striking. Very true. That's what makes the fight so interesting. We will see if he can stuff the takedowns, though. That's the big question. Lee beat Ferguson in the first round, almost beat him via ground and pound. I remember him just letting loose at the end of the first round. He was like talking shit to him too. I know this sounds weird, but Edson by 3rd round sub. Okay, we'll see. I mean, I don't know if Edson Barboza has too many submissions wins. But I'll remember that. Johnny Coke Jones. If Barboza misses in the jiu-jitsu, etc., then Barboza, it's whoever puts the pressure on. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think Barboza is just, I think if Giga wins, I will be all aboard the train. But I just haven't seen it yet. There's nothing, I have to look at tangible things that have happened to be able to pick a fighter to win. And what's gone on so far in their careers, you have to go with Edson Barboza, in my opinion. But guys, do me a favor. If you haven't already, after this stream, go check out my prediction video and please like it. I work hard on those prediction videos. It's one of the last 2 videos on the channel, so. It's good to see Edson main eventing again. Yes. Edson Barboza has never been in a boring fight, ever. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Not that I remember, at least. Barboza's going to win. I'm picking Lee against Rodriguez. I want to see Kevin Lee versus Gilbert Burns. Kevin Lee versus Jorge Masvidal in the big dream. I want to see Lee in at 170 against Usman. That would be pretty good. Yeah, but it all depends. He has to pick up some wins. He has to pick up some good wins before he can fight any of those guys. I mean, he doesn't deserve a fight with Gilbert Burns. He doesn't deserve a fight with Jorge Masvidal. He doesn't deserve a fight with Kamaru Usman. It's not going to happen until he gets some quality wins at welterweight. Call me crazy, but I think Kevin Lee would have beat Habib. Maybe on his best night, but he was just too inconsistent. Too inconsistent. I would have loved to see it. I would have loved to see it just because of Kevin Lee's wrestling. But I think, it's hard to pick against Habib in any fight. Charles DuBronx can beat Habib, in my opinion. I swear on my life, and I talked about this earlier in the channel, my dream fight for a year now, before anybody was talking about Charles Oliveira, I wanted to see Charles Oliveira versus Habib Nurmagomedov. I didn't care if it was for a title, not for a title. Just Oliveira's slick submission skills. But let me tell you this. I think he could beat him, but I think Habib would win. I'd favor Habib. I understand the health issues for older fighters, but since most want to fight still, do you think there will be an MMA? Do you think there will be an MMA organization aimed for legends over 48 league? I don't think so. There was talk of the UFC doing a legends division, which I wouldn't be opposed to. If the UFC just had these older guys and they matched them up, and maybe some of them were at light heavyweight, some of them were at heavyweight, but they weighed 210 But I don't know if the UFC would ever do that. And I know you're talking about another organization, just building that up. But no, the organizations they have now, they're always going to use older fighters with names to build new, younger fighters. And in the MMA game, it's the young eating the old perpetually over and over and over again. So, these MMA promoters aren't looking out for the old guys. They're looking to build their next star off of the old guys' names. So, I really don't think that's ever going to happen. People don't realize that Islam and Habib train with Olympic medalist wrestler in Dagestan. Different level from NCAA and Division II wrestling in the U.S. Agreed. People were talking about Gaethje's wrestling before that fight. We see how that worked out. Gaethje's got that fabled wrestling, honestly. Okay. Guys, keep filling the chat with questions, please. And you know what? I always forget this. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, go follow me on Twitter. But I always supposed to tweet out the live stream, and I always forget to tweet out the live stream. Let me get on here real quick. The link is in the description if you want to follow me on Twitter. And guys, just keep filling the chat with questions for me. I always forget to do this. And I mean to do it 2 minutes before I even get on here. So I don't have to do this. But I keep forgetting. Okay, there we go. Do you think there's any chance of Habib's return? I doubt it. I think there is. But I doubt it. I put it at about 5% chance. Maybe if his mom, gives, he really misses it and his mom gives him her blessing. I think it's a possibility. But I'm very doubtful. He doesn't need the money. So, I doubt it. So, okay, let's also talk about, I put it in the title, so we must talk about it. UFC Vegas 34, the main event was Kelvin Gastelum versus Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier gets the decision. And this is a massive loss for Kelvin Gastelum, regardless of how close it was. I thought the fight was so close. I don't remember. I think I had 1, 2, and 5 for Kelvin. But it was just such a close fight. I mean, it could have went to either fighter. And it just sucks now because let me pull up Kelvin Gaslum's record. I wanted to make a video all week, but then, that's what I have this live stream for. So we can talk about all the things that I miss that I didn't make a video about. But Kelvin Gastelum is now 1-5 in his last 6 fights. And there's people saying, oh, he's 1 fight away from being cut. And we have a weird situation. Kelvin Gastelum is an aberration because within the middleweight division, and I don't know where Kelvin Gastelum is going to end up in the rankings. I don't know if they changed the rankings already or not. Let me take a look. He's currently ranked number 9 in the UFC rankings. But we have a weird situation where Kelvin Gastelum may fall out of the top 10. And in my opinion, and I feel like I have a very solid case to back this up, Kelvin Gastelum is still a top 5 or 6 fighter. I really believe that. And I don't think, I think there's more to just wins and losses. I know that's the only thing that matters in the sport when it comes to fighting for belts and whatnot like that. But as far as an organization and their willingness to cut a guy or keep a guy, when you say he's 1-5, look at the fights, though. You have to take into account what happened within these fights. And you look back, look at the guys he's fighting. He fought Israel Adesanya to a unanimous decision loss. Fight was super close. So close. And, Israel Adesanya clearly won, in my opinion. But it was just a back and forth, one of the best fights of the year. Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier was the main event on that card for the for the interim lightweight championship. And that fight was pretty good itself, and nobody even talked about it because Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum was so amazing. So close fight against Israel Adesanya, who a lot of people are very, very high on. Almost, rocked him a couple times. It was a back and forth fight. Wasn't as close as some of his other fights. Kelvin clearly lost, but great fight. And against the guy that's still the champion. Then he fights Darren Till, which I like to mention I was there live for. I thought Kelvin Gastelum won that fight, but it was a close fight. Neither guy really did much. It was a split decision loss to Darren Till. How much? And Darren Till's a very good fighter, So I don't know how much you take that, and it could have easily been a win. Then he gets submitted by Jack Hermanson in the first round. I personally think, and I know, it's weird to say this because he lost. I think Kelvin Gastelum probably beats Jack Hermanson, maybe 8 times out of 10. But he just got caught in a heel hook. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him. I'm not some Kelvin fanboy. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. It's not that I'm not getting paid by Kelvin Gastelum to tell you guys this type of stuff. It's just my opinion. You look at that. So, that's not a great loss. You're getting stopped in the first round. Regardless of how it went down, that's not a great loss. But that's the only one when you go through these that's terrible. You have the Ian Heinisch win, which I actually thought Kelvin didn't look that good in that fight for the level that he was fighting to. I thought he should have went in there and made a statement in that fight. So, in my opinion, out of all these losses, or out of all these last 6 fights, 5 of them being losses, I think Kelvin looked worse in his win. Then you have the Robert Whitaker fight. He took that fight on short notice, a couple weeks' notice, and he's fighting one of the best in the world in Robert Whitaker. And regardless, he lost that fight decisively, but it's Robert Whitaker. Come on now. Come on. Robert Whitaker, one of the best in the world, former champion, fighting Israel Adesanya for the belt next. And Kelvin Gastelum looked for the finish the entire fight. Repeatedly. He's not a guy that's losing and then somehow packs it in. He's a guy that no matter what, he's looking to win a fight no matter how bad it's going. So, you look at that fight, okay, he loses to Robert Whitaker. Then he goes out and fights Jared Cannonier. Close fight. I personally thought Kelvin Gastelum should have got rounds 1, 2, and 5. But it is what it is. It's not a robbery by any means. Jared Cannonier did have that big moment, but I just thought Kelvin was outstriking him in the first and second round. I think I'm going off memory here, but if not, I went on my post fight. I'll have to check it out. But I think it was 1, 2, and 5. And I thought Gastelum did enough to win. Obviously it wasn't in the judges' eyes, but you can't trust those judges. But either way, so out of these 5 losses that he has, 2 of them are up in the air. And then the other 2 are against the top 2 best guys in the world. And then one of them's by the heel hook, the quick finish. So I don't think no matter what happens with Kelvin Gastelum, I really don't think he should be cut. I hope he takes a little bit of a step back in his next fight. But arguably right now, I would rank him, if I'm going off my own personal mind, who would I rank him above? I would have Kelvin Gastelum as number 4. He's currently ranked number 9. He might fall back even more. I would have him as number 4 or number 5 maybe. I think he beats Derek Brunson. I think he beats Marvin Vettori most likely. I think obviously he's competitive with Jared Cannonier. I think he's competitive with Paulo Costa. And I think Adesagna and Whitaker are better. I don't think he probably ever beats Whitaker just because of the matchup, but I'd love to see that Adesanya rematch. The Jack Hermanson, I think he's better than Jack Hermanson, even though he has a loss to him. I think he would win in a rematch. Let's see what we got. And guys, if you guys are just joining me, fill the chat with questions. I'm just talking about some different topics real quick, and then I'll get back to the chat. But, I mean, anybody who's saying cut Kelvin Gastelum, I think is crazy. Jared Cannonier is number 3 in the world, and he just went to a close decision with him and could have got the decision. I feel bad for Gastelum, but again, he's taking the toughest fights. Should he go to welterweight? I think some people are suggesting that. We don't know if he can really make it. I mean, he obviously is not going for a reason, but, with his body type, I think a lot of people think that if with a good nutritionist, he can make it down there. But is it worth it? Are the returns diminishing returns? If it really affects his body negatively and he feels like he doesn't perform as well, it's one of those things. It's iffy, and nobody knows their body better than the fighter themselves. So I hate when people try to say, "Oh, this guy needs to do this. This guy needs to do that." I know it's part of the speculation. It's fun, but I don't know. Kelvin Gastelum could feel completely drained at 170 for all we know. I know we look at his body, but okay, let's get back to the chat a little bit. By the way, guys, if you want to help support the channel, now that I'm monetized, you can send super chat donations. Even if it's just $1, I appreciate it. If you weren't here earlier, I want to mention it again. I will have a membership to the channel probably later today or tomorrow. YouTube's reviewing it, and it needs to get approved. You'll be able to get special loyalty badges and special custom emojis that I'm having made. I posted them on the community tab, pictures of what they will be if you guys want to check that out. But later I will post if the memberships get approved, and you guys should please join and support the channel. Okay, let's get back to some of these questions in the chat now that we've talked about all that. People don't realize that Islam... Okay, I already read that. Already read that. Makhachev came out and said he doesn't think a winner of RDA will get him a title shot. He said the winner of Chandler Gaethje will get the next shot. I think Islam, if he beats RDA, should fight the winner of Chandler versus Gaethje, and then that winner should fight for the belt next. That's my opinion. When did you start the live? Right now, I've been up for 53 minutes. You can always watch the replay, Issa. When Conor returns, do you think he will look for? I think he'll look... Conor's not as crazy as Conor is. He's not dumb. He's going to look for a winnable matchup, in my opinion. I think he's going to stray away from that Dustin Poirier 4th fight for now. Maybe go beat up someone on the level of Cowboy Cerrone. Maybe he fights Diego Sanchez finally after begging Dana in the IG messages. Maybe he'll fight Diego Sanchez. I think he should fight Tony Ferguson. I want Conor McGregor versus Tony Ferguson next. Tony Ferguson maybe gets a win in the meantime. But you could also see Conor versus Nate Diaz. That would not surprise me. The Nate Diaz trilogy is always there. Gaston needs to switch camps. He should have never lost to Hermanson and Weidman. I think the Weidman fight was a size disadvantage. I think he beats Weidman if it wasn't for the massive size advantage. Weidman's a huge middleweight. I would really like to see Kelvin train at AKA. Maybe he does need to switch camps. I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I think he should look for a Nate Diaz trilogy. Agreed. What's going on? I am the Defense. Thanks for joining the live stream. I greatly appreciate you. By the way, guys, if you're in here and you haven't already, like the live stream. Yes, I'm talking to you right now. If you haven't clicked the like button, please like the live stream. It helps push this live stream out to other people and then helps grow the channel in turn. I'm currently at 1,147 subscribers. I love saying that on live stream. Sometimes I went back and watched an old one of my live streams and I was talking about, I got 26 subscribers or something like that. And I always love hearing it when I go back and I've grown, a decent amount and I can hear myself say that. Uh, let's see. Hey, Joey, just curious. Have you thought about trying to get some interviews with fighter? I know the very top guys are a little tough to get a hold of, but the mid to lower guys will usually grant it. I have thought about that, and I got to get the logistics in line. Ginge has been hounding me to do that. And yes, I will try to eventually. Hopefully by the end of the year, maybe. And I will try to get some of those guys. And I think that will help grow the channel as well. And I think I could do a good job of it, honestly. I think I would do a good job at interviewing. And again, you don't know. The hardest part of anything is starting. Once you start to do something, you start to get better and better. I mean, my videos, in my opinion, they still need work, but my videos have gotten better and better since I started this channel. So the hardest part is starting. I saw your video on the UFC 268 match card. I also think that'll be one of the greatest UFC cards of all time, hands down. Yeah, I hope they stack it even more. Adesanya versus Whitaker 2 is not happening on that card anymore. But I really do hope they stack it with multiple title fights. Right now, it's got 3 great fights on it, but I hope it gets better. Paulo needs, I'm not sure what that was about. Sorry, I don't remember. Paulo needs to get cut, in my opinion. He's fighting Marvin Vettori next, so that's not happening. If Yo can get cut, I won't be surprised if he gets released. I don't think it happens. I'm a big Gastelum fan. I don't know how you can't be a Gastelum fan. He's always in exciting fights. He's a great fighter. He takes the toughest matchup. He's like the RDA of the middleweight division, taking every tough matchup that he can. I don't know how you can't respect the guy. Kelvin could be a welterweight easily, but he's not disciplined. He's got a lot of body fat. I'm a big fan of his. I just want to see him succeed. I agree. But it's always hard, though. It's hard. We say that, but we don't know how he feels. Maybe he doesn't feel great at welterweight. So I always kind of leery about saying stuff like that, but I do agree with you. I think he could be successful at welterweight. I thought he beat Woodley a while ago when Woodley was in his prime. Right before Woodley fought for the belt, I thought Kelvin beat him. I love Kelvin's pressure-heavy style. I mean, he's just so much fun to watch, and he's so fast. He gets in and out. He negates reach advantages. He has great sneaky striking. The hardest part about doing these live streams is talking for long periods of time gets you very thirsty. I usually have 3 bottles of water on deck for these live streams. Do you think Jimmy Rivera will go to Bellator? Now, yeah, great question, because I wanted to talk about this, Ginge. The UFC for years, it seems like they let quality guys go. And these aren't guys who are necessarily going to be champions. But the UFC isn't built just to only keep guys around that are championship caliber. We need guys like Jimmy Rivera, or for another example, Yoel Romero, or Phil Davis, or Anthony Rumble Johnson, or Ryan Bader. We need guys like that to test other people and, so we can see, we're up-and-coming prospects. Like, if you don't have a guy like Corey Anderson, who's going to send, who's going to end the Johnny Walker hype train? We need to see him get tested against quality guys. Those guys are very important to the divisions, even though if they may never be champions or may never even fight for a belt. We need them to test the other guys to really be like gatekeepers. And I just think it's ridiculous they're letting guys like Jimmy Rivera go. Jimmy Rivera is always an exciting fighter, and it just sucks. But to answer your question, I'm getting off topic here of your actual question. I think most likely Bellator will sign him. If they don't sign him, I don't know what's going on. Bellator should be looking for, good talent. Jimmy Rivera is still an elite fighter. I think he's getting up there in age. Let me actually look that up real quick. How old is Jimmy Rivera? I think he's getting up there a little bit, and that's probably why the UFC let him go. I think that's the reason they let Yoel Romero go. But, yeah, he's only 32, so Jimmy Rivera could arguably be in his prime right now. It just sucks, man, that they let guys like that go. We need guys like that within the division. I mean, you have plenty of guys who are terrible who are in there, Why can't we keep quality guys like Jimmy Rivera? Conor versus Tony would be great, but Nate 3 would be great. Yeah, that fight's always going to be there. I think no matter what, we will see Conor versus Nate Diaz 3. I don't care if they're both on 12-fight losing streaks. We will see that fight again one day. I promise you that, my friend. Unless one of them, something happens to them. I think we will see that, Conor versus Nate 3. I feel like it should have happened already. I mean, they fought for the second time in 2016, right after the first one. I think only 5 months later, similar to this Dustin Poirier fight, and it's one of those fights that win or lose for either guy, it will always be there. I think Nate beats him, especially at this point in his career, but who knows? I thought Nate Diaz clearly won the second fight. I rewatched it a couple times. I scored it for Nate Diaz each and every time. I don't think I was letting my bias get in the way of it, but I think Nate beat him the second time as well as the first time, and I want to see him run it back. No, I mean, cut is he doesn't deserve to be ranked number 2. Probably not. I mean, but if he gets a win over Marvin Vettori, he's on his way back to getting a title shot. Maybe one more win after that against a legit contender. It's illegal how underrated Jimmy Rivera is due to. Dude looked untouchable before the Marlon fight. Yeah, exactly. He looked so good. Jimmy Rivera has always been underrated. Marlon Moraes was nasty, though. I mean, when he came into the UFC, the streak he went on was insane. I will never forget, as long as I live, that KO Marlon Moraes got against Aljamain Sterling. Just stiffened him up. Just the brutality that happened there was just absolutely spectacular. Let me see something. You gotta be kidding me. Hi, everyone. And you as well, Joey. How are you doing? Golid, Mohammed Golid, appreciate you joining. Thanks for the compliment. If you guys like the haircut, don't forget to like the stream. Am I the only one that dislikes Marlon Vera lately? He talks a lot. He ain't a championship caliber fighter. I like Marlon Vera, so I'm not with you on that one. I think he's a funny guy. I think he's trying to be honest. I think, when you're not that top caliber fighter, I think it comes off as a little strange. But no matter what, people are going to get disliked, when they're talking a lot of shit. But I like Marlon Vera, so I'm not with you on that one. Let's see. And guys, keep the questions coming. Dual Core MMA, hey Joey, looking fresh. Also, what's up? What's going on, Dual Core MMA? Appreciate you. Thank you for joining the stream. As always, I enjoy you guys stopping by. It's just hard for me to believe you guys just like, coming by the stream and just chatting about MMA. Honestly, it blows my mind. By the way, I did see someone earlier. Now, I just read a message and I seen something earlier. They talked about UFC 267 being official. I thought this stuff was official forever ago. So it's weird how the UFC does that. Maybe it just means the contracts were signed. Who do you got for the rematch between Sterling and Jan, too? I definitely got Jan. I think Jan dominates him in every aspect. But I'm curious what kind of adjustments that Sterling can make in that second fight. Because he doesn't have a lot of time in between fights. By the way, Joey, Gaethje and Chandler's official for 268 November 8th. I think it's November 6th, my friend. But maybe I'm wrong, and you're right. I don't know. I think it's November 6th. Colby versus Gaston at 170. It's going to be more competitive than people think. I think Pillow Hands versus Grant Chin, both amazing wrestler. I think Kelvin Gastelum beats Colby Covington with ease. I'm late. You can always go back and watch the replay later, French fries. But thank you for stopping by regardless. Talking MMA with people is really fun. Yeah, I love it. I've wanted to start this channel for probably, I'd say 8 years. I've always wanted to start it, but it's just hard. I mean, you got to put yourself out there. I don't really care what other people think, but it's just one of those things. Getting on video, people seeing you and listening to you and try to criticize you and so it's a weird thing, and it's hard to feel comfortable. Talking to yourself when you're recording videos. It's not like you can just start live streaming out of nowhere. But it's fun. I'm glad I did it. I love doing these live streams and talking to you guys. I'm happy we're building this community, and it's not toxic at all. I mean, we don't have people just constantly insulting each other. The feature YouTube added where you have to be a subscriber for, a minute or so to participate in the chat. That's one of the greatest features they added in the YouTube streaming world, because that saves you from trolls. So, What's next if Edson loses? Whew. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow for either guy. I don't know. I guess, he could fight. I don't know. I don't really see him fighting Bryce Mitchell or Sadiq Youssef. I think he beats both those guys. He could fight any of the upcoming losers of, if Dan Igue's next fight, I'm not sure he's fighting. Josh Emmett's inactive. There's a lot of options for Edson, but this is a very important fight for him to win. They figured out how to beat Marlon, crowd him in big shots, and he'll melt. Yeah, also his stamina. His stamina is an issue. I watched Marlon for a while in World Series of Fighting, and I really thought he was going to be the UFC bantamweight champion, but it wasn't to be. I mean, he had his opportunity, but his stamina just couldn't hold up. In the Henry Cejudo fight, he looked like an absolute world beater in the Henry Cejudo fight. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. He ended up, with his stamina, then the clinch work. He wasn't able to defend against the knees, and it wasn't to be. Maybe he can rebound. We're going to see. He's fighting these crazy not top contenders, but up-and-coming guys like Merab Davishvili. So he's got a battle to make his way back to that potential title, and I don't know if he can make it. Would have been earlier, but I had homework. No big deal, man. Just thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. Yeah, November 6th, my bad. Chandler signed the contract today, so it's going down. That's awesome, man. I figured it would regardless. What do you think of Ramiz Brahmas win the other day? He had been out for 2 years and seemed to have really good grappling. Let me look. Hold on. I don't know if I missed this fight or not. I think this might be a fight I missed, because sometimes I forget dude. There's so many fighters. I'm not going to sit here. I know a lot of people sit here and they pretend, they know every single fighter on every single card, and this guy's great and that guy's great. And no, I missed that fight. It was the very first prelim. I really am trying to get better. I love watching all the fights, but I gotta, not trying to say like, oh, I'm so busy, but it's just a lot of stuff going on, and sometimes, these prelims start earlier or whatever. They're starting different times. So I missed it, but I'll go back and check it out, and I'll let you know. But I see that he got the submission win. I did not see that fight. So I did see the Ignacio Bahamondes. I did tune in right at that time, and I caught the replay of that spinning back kick by Bahamondes, which was absolutely incredible. Do you think if Cannonier gets another top win, will he be next in line for a title shot after Whitaker? 100%. Israel Adesanya has been planting the seed to fight Jared Cannonier for ages. And I've talked about this recently. The reason he's doing that is because he knows that Jared Cannonier is an easy matchup for him. So if he gets another win, probably. But also, and another thing I want to talk about in this stream, and we'll get to it in a minute, if a big win over Derek Brunson, Darren Till could be next in line as well. Let's see what we got here. Hopefully the stream's still working fine. For some reason it's popping up like it's buffering or something. Let me see. Okay, I think it's working fine. Do you think okay, I already read that. By the way, what card is Kelvin Holland returning on? I don't remember. I forgot that one. I know he's returning soon against my internet and reconnect it. Sometimes that works and helps with the buffering issue. Let me know if everything seems a little bit better now. Usually that helps. I don't know what's going on. If OBS is having problems, I'll disconnect the internet and reconnect it back to the same internet, and it'll go back to working fine. So I think it's working fine. It's looking good on my end, but sometimes it lies to me. Let's see. This type of stuff just drives me nuts. It gets me physically angry. And there's nothing that gets me angry in life other than technical difficulties, especially when we're just trying to have a good conversation. And I want it to be, as smooth and seamless as possible. Okay, so we talked about Kevin Holland returning against Kyle Dacus. What else we got here? Thank you guys for all the questions you guys are submitting. I greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the stream if you haven't already. I got to remind you guys that I'm trying to grow this channel. Eventually, we're going to hit 100K subs. I don't know how long it'll be. It might be 4, 3, 5 years. I don't know. But eventually, we're going to hit 100K subs on this channel. I promise you guys that. Can you go? Okay, hold on. No, I skipped over a bunch of stuff. If Barboza wins, who is next? I think Barboza is 2 or even 1 fight away from a title fight. Hopefully Volk retains and Barboza doesn't fight Max. I think Max beats Barboza and Barboza beats Volk. I would like to see Edson Barboza versus Yair Rodriguez next. I don't know. Yair Rodriguez is fighting Max Holloway, though. They rebooked that, so that's not going to happen. I'm just thinking through it a little bit. Who's available? Maybe he could fight Chan Sung Jung. Chan Sung Jung's coming off a big win over Dan Ige, so he could fight Chan Sung Jung next. I'd love that fight. I think he could fight for a title soon. Who's next for Volkonovsky if he beats Ortega? Do you see him moving up to 155? I don't think he moves up to 155 anytime soon. He may eventually, but I don't think he moves up anytime soon. And if Holloway beats Yair, then it's him. Then it's Holloway for a third time. And if Yair beats Holloway, then it's Yair. But we'll never know. So it'll either be Holloway or Yair, and I don't see him moving up to 155 anytime soon. Can you go through all the UFC weight class and tell me who's your favorite? Everyone. Yeah, okay, I can do that. Favorite fighter at flyweight. I admit that this is a new favorite fighter at flyweight. Brandon Moreno. How can you not love the guy? How can you not love Brandon Moreno? Seems like such a fun guy. Just to see him so happy winning that belt and to be able to come back from adversity where he was cut from the UFC and make his way back. I like Brandon Moreno a lot. Bantamweight, if I had to say like favorite fighter, like as far as the motion, Jose Aldo has to be number 1. But my favorite fighter to watch is Petr Yan. I'm a big believer in him. I love watching him fight. I have his autograph. I love Petr Yan. But number 1 as far as like all-time favorite, Jose Aldo. Featherweight, it's got to be Max Holloway. Got to be Max Holloway. I love watching him fight. I love his attitude. Who doesn't love Max Holloway? Lightweight right now, it'd be a toss-up between Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira. I've been a big believer in Charles Oliveira for a while now. I've been a big believer in Justin Gaethje for a while now, too. Before he even came over from WSOF, I was a big believer in him. And I love both their styles. And I love... And people know who watch my channel. And I don't feel like... I don't consume a lot of... I don't feel like a lot of channels talk about this or a lot of MMA analysis talk about this. And I don't ever get into like stats or anything like that, but I think this isn't a stat or anything, but I'm just getting to my point. There's guys who come out every single time and they look improved, and Charles Oliveira is one of those guys. So it just makes me so excited for it because every single time out, this guy looks improved. So it's probably Charles Oliveira, but if not, Gaethje. It used to be Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson's got me depressed as of lately, but a couple years ago, it would have been Tony Ferguson. Welterweight, it has to be, and I hate to keep picking champions, has to be Kamaru Usman. Guy looks incredible. He's well-rounded. He's active. Love watching him fight. Middleweight, God, I hate picking champions again, but favorite guy to watch, probably Adesanya. Favorite overall fighter, probably Robert Whitaker. Honestly, I love Robert Whitaker. Light heavyweight has to be Yuri Prohaska. Guy's an absolute savage, but there's a lot of guys I like at light heavyweight. I love watching Jan Blachowicz fight. Thiago Santos, even though he's on a losing streak, is awesome. Also, Alexander Rakic, awesome. Future of the division there. Heavyweight, Cyril Gane, Francis Ngannou. You can count John Jones in there, even though he's never fought at heavyweight. John Jones is probably maybe number 1 on my list of favorite fighters to watch. Strawweight, it's got to be Rose Namajunas or Weili Zhang. Joanna, I like Joanna, but at the same time, I feel like she hasn't evolved. She's the same girl every time out. Women's flyweight, Valentina Shevchenko, without a doubt. Women's bantamweight has to be Amanda Nunez. Has to be Amanda Nunez. So I know there's a lot of champions in that, but I gave you some other options as well. Okay. Burger King versus McDonald's. Which do you prefer? Chick-fil-A, my friend. Chick-fil-A is my favorite. I love Chick-fil-A. But if I had to pick between Burger King and McDonald's, I'm probably going with McDonald's. But anytime I get food out, Where you want to go? Chick-fil-A is the answer. I don't know if you guys have Chick-fil-A where you're at. If you do and you haven't been there, it's so good. It's so good. Korean Zombie gives Holloway and Volk problems. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna say I know that wasn't a true or false question, but I love true or false questions. I'll say false. I think Korean Zombie loses to Holloway and Volkanovski. I think he has a better chance against Volkanovski than he does against Holloway. I feel Burns versus Mosfet is going to be announced soon. Maybe, but I also think we could get Masvidal versus Leon finally. I think that fight could be finally announced as well. I feel okay, but also, what makes you think that's going to be announced soon? I'm curious. By the way, guys, do some true or false questions. I love those questions. Derek Lewis will always be one of my favorite fighters personally. Kevin Holland is a close second, though. Derek Lewis is fun, but it's just he just never changes and he never evolves. I wish he would just add more facets to his game. Who's next for Gastelum? Okay, you know what's funny? I talked about Gastelum a good bit on this chat, but I don't think who I said who he should fight next. Maybe he can fight. That's a tough one. He can fight Uriah Hall. Give him the Uriah Hall rematch. The Ultimate Fighter finale rematch. I think we do that. Give Uriah Hall versus Kelvin Gastelum too. The Ultimate Fighter finale rematch from years ago. A lot of people thought Uriah Hall was going to walk over him. I'm stuck in Europe where we don't have Chick-fil-A here. That sucks, man. Chick-fil-A is so good. Have you got Five Guys? Yes, we got Five Guys here. Great burgers. Great burgers. I actually just got one maybe like 10 minutes away. Before, the closest one was maybe 15 or 20 minutes away. I want Burns versus Leon. I'm okay with any permutations of any of the top welterweights fighting each other. Masvidal is meeting with the UFC next week, I think, to discuss his next fight. He wants a fight that will take him closest to the title, and Burns is ready to go anytime. I see that as a fight. Yeah, I think Burns or Edwards does him well, but I think Burns is a terrible matchup for Masvidal. So I think he avoids that matchup. I don't think we see Masvidal versus Burns. I think the Edwards versus Masvidal fight sells more from a narrative angle, and then also on top of that, we have a somewhat winnable matchup for Masvidal. There ain't no way Masvidal's beating Gilbert Burns, in my opinion. I just don't think. I think Gaston dominates Uriah Hall at the moment. Agreed. Or loser of Sean versus Rocco. I think if Rocco loses to Sean, we never see him again. I really believe that. I really believe that, guys. Guys, there's not... always want to go check that there's no... I haven't missed any like breaking news while we've been on here, have I? Let me go check real quick. I'm always worried there's gonna be some type of breaking news while I'm on the chat and no one's gonna tell me. Nope, don't see nothing. And if there is something, I'll just make a video after this stream. Guys, keep the questions coming. Let me actually show you guys. Let me see if I have it on here already or not. I don't think I do. I want to show you guys. Okay, I just emailed that to myself. I'm going to show you guys real quick. I've talked about it, and I posted in the community tab, but I want to show you guys on the stream as well. So, probably later tonight, I'll be able to launch it. I was hoping to launch it today while I was on the live chat. but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. I'm going to have a small membership for the channel, and it's going to offer loyalty badges and emojis for you guys to use within the chat. So I paid a guy on Fiverr to design these for me. And these will be, I'm about to put them up on the screen here in a second. These will be, the top is the loyalty badges, and the bottom is the custom emojis, and I have one other emoji coming soon that I think will be your guys' favorite, honestly. But I don't have it yet. And this will what you guys will get for joining the MMA Joey membership. So let me put this up on the screen for you just so I can advertise it a little bit on here and you guys can see it and let me know what you think in real time. I did post it on the community tab, so if you guys saw it earlier, this is what we got here. So you guys will get, if you guys sign up for a membership, you guys will get these. The badges next to your name. The longer you're a member, oh, hold on, the subscribe graphics in the way. Let me move this to a different side of the screen. Let me move it over here. Move it over there. If you guys become a member, you'll over the course of time, you'll be able to get the different badges, and right away you'll be able to get those emojis. So I'll leave them up on the screen for a minute for you guys to look at them, and I'll catch up on the chat. But it should be available later. I'll post it on the thing. YouTube's just got to approve it. It says it takes up to 24 hours. But let me know what you guys think in the chat while I got them up here. I'm curious what you guys think. I know some of you guys responded. Let's see. Nice to see more MMA YouTubers on the come up. Keep doing you, man. Thank you, Jack Attacks. Thank you, my friend. I really do appreciate it, man. Let's see. Burns versus Edwards and Luque versus Mosfet, I think will happen. I think that would be more likely than Burns versus Mosfet. I don't think they're doing it. How would they do Mosfet versus Edwards? Co-main event, pay-per-view, or 5-round co-main event? I don't know, man. They could headline a fight night. But I think, okay, here's my prediction. You just gave me more thought into it. I say they're going to headline at big ESPN card where they're doing it on the ESPN cable channel. Who do you think is the most winnable opponent for Mosfet in the top 5? Good question. Got to be Vicente Luque. Got to be. He ain't beating Colby. He ain't beating Gilbert. Leon Edwards is tough. I think he could beat Leon Edwards, but it's going to be tough. And he ain't beating Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Vicente Luque is his best chance. Let's see. Dan Hooker versus... It's hard for me to pronounce that guy's name, so I'm not going to butcher it. I'll probably go Dan Hooker, but that's a tough fight. That's a tough fight for him. I kind of want to see Dan Hooker. I a little bit wanted to see him versus Islam at one point in time. He could also fight Tony Ferguson, but it's a decent fight. I love them all and love that I know where they're all from. Yeah, thank you, my friend. Thank you. I'm glad you like them. I was curious what people would think. It's going to be cool. I'm excited. I'm really excited to launch it. If you guys sign up, that's cool. If not, just watching the videos and joining the stream is also supporting the channel anyway. But I just wanted people have asked me about it, and I wanted to give them the option. I can't wait to launch it. I can't wait to see some of you guys with those badges next to your name in the chat, using some of those emojis. And I have one more emoji coming. The guy's designing it for me right now. He did off of a picture. He's cartoonizing it and whatnot and sizing it the right way. But, by the way, let me get that off the screen now, guys. We'll take one last look at it. Let me know what you guys think of this before I take it off the screen. And I am getting rid of it now. So, there we go. I don't want to leave that up on the screen forever. But I have one more coming. It's my favorite emoji that you guys, and I think you guys are really going to like it. And in the future, as I grow the channel and I grow the memberships, I'll take suggestions on what do you guys want to see for the next emoji, and we'll make something like that. That's crazy, Ginge. How did you do that, Ginge? How'd you do that already? That's fine. I could have sent you the file if you want a more high res file. That's funny you got it on your picture right now. Nice to see more MMA YouTubers on the come up. Keep doing you, man. Thank you. I already read that, but thank you, Jack's Attack. How long have you been subscribed? This is the first time. I've I've seen you in the live stream is what I was saying. I lost my train of thought. Are you going to stream this week's card? If people want to see it, a couple people just say they want to see me stream the card, I'll stream the card. Also, who would you favor between Ngannou and Gan? I think that's a close fight, but I would favor Ngannou right now. But I reserve the right to change my mind. What is the price going to be? The price will be $299. It's just something I'm starting out. It's going to be the badges, the emojis, and some behind-the-scenes photos and stuff like that of stuff I'm doing. And eventually, as I grow the channel, I'll make higher tiers and extra stuff, like extra videos and stuff like that. But it's just something I want to start out. People ask me, it's just a small thing. You can sign up, $299, get that extra stuff and really help support the channel. And it's just one step to growing the channel bigger and eventually taking this to another level is really what I'm trying to do. Okay, you already read that. How much did they cost if I may ask? Yeah, you can ask. That's fine. I don't care. I might be interested in asking that dude for something similar. So hold on one second. I might be interested in that dude for something similar. So there's like a service charge or something, but it was roughly like $30. It was like $30 to have them all designed. The website Fiverr is a great website for stuff like that. And that's how I have my cartoon head made. That's how I got one of my subscribe graphics that I put in my videos made. That's how I have my t-shirt designed. Fiverr. Fivver. Sup, like your takes, curious to know where Sully. Unfortunately, we did the podcast for a while. It didn't work out. He had a busy life, so we ended up not doing it. So I launched this YouTube channel. But good to see you, Bradley. Hope you're doing well. Outside of MMA, what are your other interests? Woo! Oh, so now we're asking outside of MMA questions. To be honest, it sounds crazy. So my interests are, one, I like being outside, riding bikes, stuff like that. I'm not really too interested in sports other than MMA. Right now, it's like all my time has been focused on MMA. It's hard to keep track. Spending time with my family. I just got a puppy, which you guys have probably seen already, I think, a couple times on the live chat. Spending time with my grandmother. My grandmother, who is 82 years old. I think she turned 82 last year. She turns 83 this year. She watches every single one of my videos. She doesn't even know anything about MMA. She knows how to get on YouTube on her TV, and every single video she watches. So there's a little fun fact for you guys. And I spend most of my free time either hanging out with my granny, outside playing with my dog. I love playing Frisbee as well. I'm trying to give you as much possible information as possible right now. I'm trying to think. But to be honest, it's a lot of my time has been dedicated to this MMA channel. I don't know if it seems like that, but a lot of time I spend making these videos and doing stuff like that. But one of these days, I swear, I always tell my grandmother, because she doesn't know anything about MMA, I always tell her I'm going to get her on the channel. And it's going to be funny because when I first showed her my YouTube channel, when I started it, it's hard, and I'm sure you guys know this, you guys have older people in your life or whatnot. Older people, it's hard for them to differentiate like YouTube from anything else. So when I showed her that I was on YouTube, she didn't comprehend it almost. Like she knew what it was, but it was like she pulled it up on her TV and it was like, even though I just run this little small YouTube MMA channel, you would have thought I was on ESPN. She watches every single video for the most part, unless the only way she doesn't watch a video is if sometimes she has a hard time comprehending. You can go down to the channel and then go to the videos in order. And sometimes she just sees them recommended on her homepage and she'll click on them. So sometimes she will miss them because she thinks the homepage is the same thing as actually going to the channel and seeing them in order. But she'll even watch the full live stream. So I'm curious. It might take a day or two, but she'll watch this live stream and she'll see this. So I'm not going to say nothing to her. I'll see what she says. But one day I'm going to have her on for a video. Maybe. It's funny because she doesn't watch. I always ask her for her picks, too, of some of the notable fights. I'll be like, what's your pick? So there's some interesting stuff. I spend a lot of time with my 82-year-old granny. I've been subscribed since Lewis gone. Thank you, man. Thanks for being a supporter of the channel. I really appreciate it. I really do. It means a lot. It means more than you would think. So I love hearing the encouraging words, honestly. Every single time I see something like that, it just inspires me to keep making more videos. Let's go over to here. And if you know anybody else who loves MMA, send them my channel. Tell them to subscribe. I'm trying to get to that maybe that 10,000 subscriber mark. Other sports are just way more lame compared to combat sports. Agreed. What's good, Joey? Did you ever catch up on the Tough Show? No, I did not, man. I swear I just didn't have the time. I wanted to, but it's just hard to watch all those episodes. That's so wholesome. Wow, God bless you, Kenny. Yeah, it's funny. She'll watch them and she'll ask me about them. Like, oh, what about this? This guy or that guy, and she always butchers the name. It's hilarious, but she watches every single video. It's funny. One of these days, I'm gonna try to get her to. I don't know if she would know how to type in the live chat, but that'd be funny. Imagine I could get her in the live chat. I'll make her a moderator. She'll accidentally ban everybody. One more thing I want to talk about before I end this stream. And if you guys have any more questions, fill the stream with the questions. Also, let me know. I'm starting that membership. Is there anybody in here who is going to sign up for the membership? It should be available tonight. Let me know if you guys are planning on to. It doesn't matter. If you can't, it doesn't matter. I'm not expecting you guys. I'm not saying, oh, this guy doesn't do that. It's just an extra thing for me to offer to help take the channel to the next level and take this to, a different thing. Before I get to my topic that I was just about to get to, Ginge, the first ever super chat. He sent the first ever super chat. I was doing a live stream, and he sent the first ever one when I was monetized. And he will go down in history, to say he's the guy. I was the first ever donator to the MMA Joey channel, and he just sent another super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Even if it's just $1. Even if it's just $1, technically I think that's £1, which is actually more than $1 US. It really does mean a lot. The fact that you're willing to take some of your money and send it into me, to support my dream of making this YouTube channel like a full-time job, it's just mind-blowing to me. So thank you so much, Ginge, for that donation. I greatly appreciate it. If anybody wants to see me shave my entire beard off, make a $100 donation in the super chat. And for next week's live stream, I will shave this entire beard off. But it all adds up and it all helps. So, thank you guys for supporting the channel. And if you can't donate, don't feel bad about it. I appreciate the donations. They mean a lot to me. But just being here for the live stream, commenting on the videos, liking the videos that I post, that's also supporting the channel. You don't need to donate. So I greatly appreciate it. If you guys have any final questions, leave them in the chat. I'm about to get to another topic. French Fries said I probably will. They add up. They do. Just let me know when it goes live. I will post in the community tab when it goes live. It should go live tonight. I actually thought it was going to be live before the live stream today because it got approved in like 2 hours last night or 3 hours, something like that. But I realized that there was something wrong with the. I edited the title of it, and it had to get re-reviewed by YouTube. And now it's been like 10, 12 hours or 8 hours or something like that, and it's not been reapproved. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, and I did put it in the description, Darren Till versus Derek Brunson is coming up not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And I really think this is a super important fight for the middleweight division. Darren Till has a massive fan base. He's from, wherever he is from in the UK. And he's a guy who's always perpetually one fight away from a title shot. And if he beats Derek Brunson, mark my words, after Robert Whitaker, he is fighting for the belt next. I mean that 100%. Darren Till has a big fan base. He's a popular guy. Izzy's the fact that he's kind of cleaned out the division a little bit, leaves the door open for a lot of guys. Like Jared Cannonier could be one fight away. I think Darren Till's one fight away. Paulo Costa's probably 2 fights away. The middleweight division is wide open for a lot of guys. And if he can beat Derek Brunson, he's probably next in line. I don't think he would deserve it at that point in time, but it's hard to deny him. I thought it was Liverpool, but I didn't want to say it and then be wrong. So I just said the UK. But thank you, Ginge, for letting me know. I appreciate that. So if he beats Derek Brunson, he wins. And I talked about Derek Brunson. A lot of people like to shit on Derek Brunson and call him a gatekeeper. I've said this time and time again. He is a championship keeper. Guys beat Derek Brunson and go on to fight for a championship. Look, they tried to do it with Edmund Shabazian. They were trying to build his name off Derek Brunson. They built Adesanya went for the title right after the Derek Brunson win or something like that. But look at the names that he's fought. I mean, Jacare Souza, Israel Adesanya, Edmund Shabazian, they were trying to build off of him. Kevin Holland was a name that, if Kevin Holland was to get a win off of him. And if Darren Till can beat Derek Brunson, that's a quality win. And I know a lot of people like to shit on Derek Brunson because he's sloppy, doing this, doing that. But he has good wrestling. He out-wrestled Joel Romero. So I can't wait for that fight. If Derek Brunson wins, he arguably deserves a title shot. Honestly, I know that sounds crazy. People are going to crucify me for that. If Derek Brunson wins, he's on a 5-fight win streak if he beats Darren Till. How can you deny? Maybe he deserves the rematch with Israel Adesanya. And I like to see, especially after that Yen win, and a lot of people speculated beforehand, the way to beat Adesanya, just because he's such a great striker, is to take him down and hold him down. And Derek Brunson has a skill set that's able to do that. His entries are sloppy. His takedowns aren't that great. But if he can take Adesanya down and he doesn't rush in, chin up like this, that'd be a fun fight. So I don't know if that would happen, but it'd be good. So I'd also put that in the description of this, so I wanted to talk about that a little bit. If anybody's watching this video in the future, watching the replay, and there's a topic that I did not talk about. I can't cover everything MMA in all my videos, so just comment it down below. I will either make a video about it or talk about it on the next stream. And also, guys, I read every message, but sometimes I might have missed one trying to reading. I just read the wrong way or something. So if I ever missed your message, just send it again. Don't spam it too much, but just send it again. I can't wait till we have like a couple hundred people in here. It'll be fun. Who is the biggest challenge for Usman? Okay, somebody's going to call me crazy right now. I already have an answer for your question. Kamaru Usman's biggest challenge is Gilbert Burns. And I know that sounds crazy because he just beat Gilbert Burns and stopped him. I think Gilbert Burns is the guy who's most likely to beat Kamaru Usman. I don't think Colby Covington gets the job done. I doubt Leon Edwards gets the job done. I know Vicente Luque doesn't get the job done. Wonderboy Thompson definitely doesn't get the job done. Jorge Masvidal does not get the job done. Neither does Michael Chiesa. I think it really comes down to Gilbert Burns is the toughest matchup for him. And I know he got stopped, but I really think, Usman does not want to go to the ground with Gilbert Burns. So, maybe Gilbert Burns was a little overconfident in that first fight, especially after dropping him and hurting him. I think his biggest problem was he let him kind of lay there and recover, or I don't remember what happened. There was a point in time, either, maybe Usman caught a kick and kind of tripped Burns down, or Usman was down or something. And either way, Burns allowed the situation to just kind of be a stalemate, and Usman was able to recover from being hurt. I'm really looking forward to it. It's not close yet. Burns with one more win, but I'm really looking forward to Usman Burns too. I really am looking forward to that. If he went, my hometown, if he wins, yeah, guys, also put in the chat, I love asking this, put in the chat right now, where are you watching the live stream from? I always love to see the diversity in the chat. So put that in the chat. I really appreciate it. You can be as specific or as unspecific as you want. If he wins, it kind of makes sense for him to fight Jarrett as the title eliminator. Are you talking about Darren Till, I'm assuming? Till will take Brunson's chin. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. Fun fact, Derek Brunson was a cheerleader in college. I did hear that before. I gotta take a drink, guys. If Till beats Brunson, I think Guys, I love seeing all these states come in. If Till beats Brunson, I think he fights Jarrett for the number one contender fight just because Robert versus Izzy is going to happen in 2022. I hope you're right, but I could see Darren Till waiting around. Gilbert Burns won the first round against Usman. Looked like he was going to win for a while. Yeah, I think maybe he got overconfident. I don't know what it was. Usman's ability to adapt is very well. So I'd love to see that ran back. What is something Kamaru could improve on? I think he needs to add more kicks. Definitely needs to add more kicks. Maybe his head movement can get a little bit better. I feel like his neck is kind of stiff sometimes. But definitely the kicks. If he can, imagine Kamaru Usman with nasty leg kicks. Chimaev, in addition to Burns, is Usman's biggest challenge. His wrestling is superior and his knockout power, yes. Yeah, but Chimaev hasn't fought elite competition yet, so I leave him out of that conversation yet. There's some guys up and coming who look good, but they haven't fought elite competition. A-Talk123, I'm watching this from Maryland. That's awesome, man. I'm from Maryland as well. Watching from Florida. Thank you for watching, my friend. French Fries is watching from Texas. I love Bakalava is next door. I'm in Virginia. What's up? What's going on, man? I always love to see that. It's always interesting. It's always very interesting for me to see, where you supporters are from, from all over the world and all over the United States as well. So, let me delete that out. Don't want that. I think that Conor is going to go up to 170 and knock out Usman and become 3-division champ. And then I think he'll gain weight and fight the 185-pound champ in late 2022 and become a 4-division champ. I agree 100%. And after that, I think he takes out John Jones and then he fights Francis Ngannou for the heavyweight belt and probably wins that too. So I agree with you. North Carolina, Shavkat Ramonov is Kamaru Usman's biggest threat. No, not tested yet, but he's better than Hamzat in my opinion. There's another name that people have thrown around a lot, and it's just a matter. I can't include those guys because they can look as good as they want, if they're fighting guys, who haven't, you get what I'm saying. I've said this time and time again. It's just there's some guy they need to be tested before we can really say, okay, they're going to be a nightmare, a bad matchup for this guy or that guy. I remember somebody talking about that last week because apparently the Weasel put him as the number one nightmare matchup for Kamaru Usman. Someone said in the chat. You always get that one dislike, and I don't know why. Yeah, who knows, man? Who cares? I don't care at all. I don't like any of that affect me. But I appreciate you noticing, man. As long as the likes are more. This guy's funny. What do you think about Islam Makhachev? Can't spell his last name. Personally, I think he's overhyped and RDA will steal all that hype. I definitely think he's overhyped at the moment, but I think he could live up to the potential. I am favoring RDA. I may change my mind on that, but I think I think RDA is being vastly underestimated in that fight. Islam Makhachev has not fought anyone. His best win is Drew Dober or Thiago Moises. Come on now. And people were acting like he's some type of world beater. He doesn't deserve to be ranked number 5, but the rankings don't mean shit. It is what it is. So there's nothing we can do about it. But I think if he beats RDA, I'll be more on the hype train than I am now. But it is what it is. No, I'm serious because his walk-around weight is 175 after that one. He'll go, yep. I think so too, my friend. I think O'Malley would get smashed by anyone in the top 10. I probably agree with you, most likely. Let me see. I think his best chance... Bantamweight is just so filthy. I think the only one that Sean O'Malley could potentially beat at bantamweight is Frank Yeager. In the top 10. So... That's all I got to say about Sean O'Malley. Don't start. We're trying to avoid that here. Broad Conor versus John Jones. Yeah. Conor motivated. A motivated Conor McGregor versus John Jones. You guys would see a demolition. O'Malley is the one with the dislike. Yeah, somebody who loves O'Malley. Gonna say it. Poirier would beat Khabib in a rematch. No way, shape, or form. Khabib would take him down again, and would submit him. I don't think Dustin Poirier could ever beat Habib Nurmagomedov. But thanks for letting me know your opinion. I'm sure some people think that, and I'm high on Poirier. I'm very high on Poirier, but I just don't think he can stuff that. I think he was in the best shape of his life to fight Habib Nurmagomedov, and it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough, my friend. If Conor and Aldo run it back, who will win? Depends what weight class, but probably Aldo. If they fought at 145 again, I think Aldo wins. Motivated Conor is a different story than the one we see now. Yeah, it's always talk. Motivated Conor. He's a mythical creature at this point. It's funny because Dana White, Conor McGregor, and all them, right before his fights, no matter which fight it is, Habib, Cowboy, Dustin Poirier, 2 and 3 of this year, it's always, I've never seen Conor McGregor like this before. He's a different animal. He's so motivated and la 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 la. He's a different beast. And then after he loses, he was distracted. He wasn't able to, do this or that. So it's just annoying. I find it annoying. All Edgar needs is one takedown on O'Malley. Would go similar to the year fight. I agree. I'm just saying. I just think Edgar's the most winnable matchup for O'Malley, but I don't think so. Oliveira was the toughest test for Habib, and he got out at the right time. Yeah, there's always going to be the next toughest test, but I wish we would have seen that fight before he retired. I wish we would have saw that. Gilbert Urbina and Ricky Taricos is going to win this weekend. I'll hold you to it. As soon as I hear McGregor, I just glaze over. I'm so tired of the media. Just everything. Conor McGregor tweeted this. Conor McGregor tweeted that. It drives me nuts. I'm just tired of hearing about the guy. He has one win in how many years now? I lose track. Against Cowboy Cerrone. This guy was begging for a Diego Sanchez fight last year. Come on. Give me a break. Give me a break, guys. When do you think the heavyweight title will be defended again? That's a great question. I'm going to say January. I think January, the heavyweight belt is probably defended. But there's a chance it might be later, in maybe spring of next year. Only because, I don't know if this is going to happen. The world's in a weird place right now. But the storyline of Ngannou, who used to live in France, and Cyril Gane, who's from there, and MMA just got legalized, I believe, in the last year there. The storyline would be crazy to kind of match those two guys up in the first ever pay-per-view in France. So I say either January if it happens in the United States, if not spring of next year. I'm really looking forward to that fight. Gilbert Urbina even already lost in the semifinals. He doesn't even deserve to be on there. Yeah, that's what sucks about The Ultimate Fighter. I mean, you watch it and then a guy falls out. It's not his fault, but you don't even get the real finals. It just kind of makes me a little bit sick a little bit. I'd be mad if I watched the entire thing. Conor versus Tony kind of makes the most sense. Both used to be top of the division. Now fans are calling them both washed. Also, the Conor news is annoying as hell. Yes, man. And I don't know if you were here earlier when I said that, but that's the fight that I wanted to see. I think Tony Ferguson can maybe pick up one win, and then we can see Tony Ferguson versus Conor McGregor maybe next summer-ish. I'd love that fight. I'd love that. That fight would be so much fun. I dreamed of that fight for years now. If Conor gains weight in terms of walk-around weight and then he goes up to 185 and fights Nick Diaz, would he win? No. I've been joking around recently, but no. If Nick Diaz wins, who does he fight next? I hate to say this. This is not what I want. Probably fights for the title next. Kamaru Usman's going to be licking his lips, begging for the fight. Maybe Nick Diaz wants it, maybe he doesn't. But he might fight for the belt next, which is disgusting. It just makes me want to throw up in my mouth. If Francis continues to hold out, do you think we see Stipe versus Gane? No, I think they'll get it together with Francis. I think they'll get it. If McGregor sees this stream, he'd come after you on Twitter. Yeah, for sure. The media sure does right. They have for years. It's disgusting. Because he inadvertently puts money in their pockets, you know. I'm a YouTube channel. And I get there's certain guys that generate, interest. But come on, it has to be something legitimate. I'll make a video about Conor McGregor. I'll make a video about Sean O'Malley. But it has to be something worthy. The MMA media, they'll post an article and all it will be is a picture of a tweet. And there's like three words inside the article. Conor McGregor tweeted this. Who cares, bro? Top fighters on losing streaks. Tony, Nate, Conor, Jorge. Yeah. Also Kelvin Gastelum. But I don't know if he's on a losing streak or it's just one loss. Can't remember if he fought anyone after Ian Heinisch. Okay, but how is Cowboy still in the roster? No idea. The UFC loves him. He's done a lot of favors for him. Stipe versus Jones. Who would you favor in the matchup? Definitely John Jones. I think John Jones beats Stipe Miocic. For sure. Nick Diaz has no chance against Usman. It will be Diaz versus GSP all over again. It'll be worse than that. It will be worse than Diaz versus GSP. It will be terrible. Guys, if you haven't already, like the stream right now. If you haven't already, like the stream. Please. All right, guys. This stream is going to last 2 hours. So keep the questions coming. We got about 10 more minutes here. You guys don't know how much I appreciate you guys. Helping the channel out, being here for the live chat, commenting on the videos. This is gonna be one of the I want this to be one of the best MMA YouTube channels out there, where we can have fun, educated MMA discussion and not just call each other casuals and all this nonsense and be screaming at each other because we disagree. I love hearing. I know people ask in YouTube videos, comment down below this or that, and I do the same thing, and it helps the video grow. The more people comment. But also, I love hearing other people's opinions. My opinion isn't, it's not like I don't know everything. I give you what I think, but I'm always love to hear contrasting opinions. So that's what I love about building this channel. Cowboy Oliveira's fighting Nico Price. That should be a crazy, wild fight. Both of them guys are wild men. Do you remember, I can't remember who it was now. Let me think of it. Let me look it up. Cowboy Oliveira. Who did he fight recently? Not recently. But it was a wild-ass fight. I can't remember if it was... I don't think it was Randy Brown. Was it Shavkat Ramonov? Or however you pronounce his name. I'm terrible. I'm not sure. There was one fight recently that he was in. Or semi-recently, within the last 2 years, I believe. And it was just a wild, crazy-ass fight with Oliveira. He's always in crazy fights. The guy's just amazing. Most MMA media members could be replaced with high school students who would do a better job. Believe me, I know. I would love to have an MMA media member's job. I feel like I could do it. Usman would violently finish Nick Diaz. Agreed. And if people say Conor's not a legit 5, they say he's 5'8". Okay. I bought a SIM card and activated it, but the internet doesn't work and I can't make calls, but my mom said it would take 24 hours to fully activate. I'm sure it'll activate, my friend. Does Whitaker have any chance against Adesagna with his newfound affinity for takedowns? That's a good question, my friend. I don't know if it's his affinity for takedowns. That I think he can make adjustments. I think that he saw Kelvin Gastelum versus Adesanya, and he took Kelvin Gastelum's game plan and tried to apply it in his fight, and it just didn't work. He was rushing forward, throwing big bombs, which was a part of his style before, but it was not his whole style. And I just think he saw the Kelvin Gastelum fight and he thought, if I do that and I land like Gastelum landed, I will put him out. So I'd like to see the adjustments that Whitaker makes. He has a high fight IQ. I think he does better in the second fight against Adesanya. Whether he wins, I'm not sure. But I'd like to see him mix it all in. Joey, are you posting the videos to Reddit? The best way to get new subs? Our MMA subreddit has a ton of visibility. Yeah, it does. I've posted a couple here and there, but not really much. Those guys are ruthless. I mean, they'll comment. Every time I post it, I've ended up getting like a bunch of dislikes on the video. Not that I care all that much that they disliked it, But to answer your question, no, I have not. I've just kind of let the YouTube algorithm work out. I have a Twitter. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description. But no, I have not posted there. I'm going to start an Instagram soon. People have been hounding me to make an MMA Joey Instagram. I will start one soon. It's just little by little, I'm upgrading everything. Pretty soon, I'm going to buy my new microphone eventually. When I get enough donations and ad revenue on here, since my channel's been monetized, I'm buying the Shure SM7B, the best microphone money can buy. I'm just slowly making upgrades here. So I'm hoping to grow the channel. I've grown it organically. I've just posted videos. And I've tweeted them out on my Twitter. I don't have very many followers on Twitter right now. And we're going to see where the channel can go. It's already grown far past my expectations. You guys have been, help, pushing this channel. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Already almost at 1,200 subscribers, guys. And if anybody's watching this right now who's not subscribed, go subscribe right now. You guys can be part of the early MMA Joey community. How do you think AJ McKee would do in the UFC? I think he would fare well. I think there's a myth. There's not that many, but the guys that are outside the UFC organization, there's a lot high quality guys than people give credit for, if that makes sense. A lot of people act like, oh, this guy or that guy would get destroyed in the UFC. There's guys in Bellator. There's guys that, outside the UFC that can compete in the UFC at a high level, and I think AJ McKee is one of them. I don't know if he'd be champion, but he'd definitely be top 5 most likely. Make sure, okay. Also, now that Ginge is answering, you also maybe turn off your phone and turn it back on. That works sometimes. Big Rocker Johnson, message retracted. If you guys haven't already, like the stream. Run the stream up. Run the stream likes up. If you guys want to support the channel, donate in the super chat, even if it's $1. I appreciate every donation. It helps the channel grow for sure. Every penny's going back into the channel. I love how you're giving this guy technical advice in the chat. I love this right now. I love this right now. This is hilarious. So hopefully he gets his phone fixed. I think if AJ McKee ever comes to the UFC, he fight Brian Ortega, depending on where Ortega is at his career. That'd be a fun fight. I'd like that fight. Both guys are very slick submission skills, have very slick submission skills, and I think that fight would be interesting. I think AJ McKee, has better striking than Brian Ortega, but Brian Ortega's striking is ever improving. We saw it after the 2-year layoff. He came in. I thought he was going to lose to Korean Zombie, and he outstruck him. He landed the spinning back elbow. So it's hard to say, but right now I would say AJ McKee has the better striking. SM7B is best even for recording music. I know. I can't wait to buy the microphone. I bought my camera specifically for high quality. I wanted to be able to do 4K videos. My camera, I bought the body by itself. I think it was $800. The lens by itself was like $400 or $500, I believe. It's one of the nicest wide-angle lenses. I'm only about maybe 1.5 feet from my camera, but it looks like I'm so much further away because of the wide-angle lens. And the crisp 4K quality that I get in the 4K videos is amazing. And that's one thing I'm obsessed with is quality, quality, quality. And pretty soon I'm going to have the best audio quality as well. The thing that sucks about the microphone, and I really want to buy it, but I'm making do with this. This sounds great as well. But it's just all the extra stuff you got to buy with it. You got to buy a cloud lifter. You got to buy an audio interface. You got to buy a boom. You got to buy the microphone itself. You got to buy a bunch of XLR cables. It adds up to like $800 or $900 to get the Shure SM7B set up. But I'm getting it. Okay. Let's see what else we got. By the way, guys, thank you so much for joining me on the stream. We'll go a few more minutes because we're getting some more questions. If you guys want me to stay longer, keep the questions coming. Keep the questions coming. And Saturday, it seems like you guys want me to stream the fights. I'll be streaming on Saturday. Why do people not think Islam smashes Poirier or Charles? He's not Khabib, but he's father's plan in his DNA. I don't know, man. I'm on the fence, too. I think it's because he hasn't fought anybody yet. I always get excited when I see an MMA Joey Scream schedule. You're the man, Dino. Thank you. I appreciate you. I try to schedule them ahead of time so you know when they are. So, because the notifications on YouTube can be wonky sometimes. Poirier came out today and said, other than Khabib, Islam would be the toughest test in the top 10. I did see that. He knows what happened to him versus Habib, probably. You know, I don't know if that's true, but that's probably. I mean, to Poirier's skill set, it's his elite level wrestler is the one that's going to be tough for him. You know, but also I really think, and this sounds crazy, I think a more technical Justin Gaethje, could beat Dustin Poirier. I mean, he was badly damaging the leg. Let's talk about UFC 266. Who you got? I'm not 100% committed yet. I'm probably taking Volkonovsky, though. I just think Brian Ortega's not going to be able to get Volkonovsky down. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Ortega, but his striking's ever improving. That's what throws the wrench in the plan. If he hurts Volk on the feet, even if he just stumbles, he can snatch up a guillotine. Luckily, I'll be doing my full breakdown and prediction for that fight very soon. Because Ortega submitted AJ when he was 19, that's a good storyline. That is good. Yuri Prohaska versus Alexander Rakic. Who do you got in that matchup? That's a fight that I would love, but I want to see it for a title eventually. I'd probably go Rakic, but I think that's a tough fight. Yuri's just so reckless. I just see him getting caught eventually. Joey going to stay for 4 hours for a $100 donation. Now I'll stay for another hour. If someone donates $100, I'll stay for another hour for sure, Ginge. But staying for another 4 hours, I think that'd be a little bit too much. But I'll make this a 3-hour stream. If someone wants to donate $100. Heck, for 50. You know what? Here's a better deal. For a $50 donation right now in the super chat, I will stay 3 hours. I like doing this anyway. I just got a couple other things I got to do tonight. But if someone wants to send it in the super chat and support the channel, you can not only support the channel but keep the stream going. And even if you guys want to accumulate for $50, I'll do it. So if someone wants to donate 20, somebody else wants to donate 20, and someone else wants to donate 10, just send the super chats. I'll be here. But no matter what, I'm gonna get to these rest of these questions anyway. Smith versus Spann. Who do you got? I'm leaning Smith. I'm not all that excited for that fight. I mean, it's a main event. I don't think that's a main event quality for a UFC fight night. Yeah, exactly. I'm running out of waters here, guys. I got one left right here, and I got a little bit left in this one. So I'm gonna have to text somebody and be like, bring me up for eight waters. I'm not super excited for Smith versus Spann. It should be a decent fight, but it just doesn't mean a lot in the scheme of the division. I don't think either one of those guys are ever fighting for a belt. For Smith, again, I don't think he's ever fighting for a belt. But I guess it's a decent fight. I just don't feel like it's main event quality. If Justin were to improve on his ground skills, he would be a long-standing champ like Habib. He's the hardest hitter at 155. Can't wait for him to KO Chandler. I agree. I think he needs to work on his jiu-jitsu, for sure. I think he can still be champion right now. I think he's the most likely to beat Charles Oliveira. If he can stuff the takedowns, I think he can probably finish Charles Oliveira on the feet. But that's a tough matchup for both guys. I would favor Oliveira. Don't get it twisted. Neil Magny is the definition of a journeyman. Do you ever see him going top 5? No way. Nope. Ain't happening. Neil versus Bilal Muhammad would have been cool main event for Smith versus Spann fight. I don't even know if that would have been a good main event, man. I hate to keep shitting on stuff, but I think that's like co-main event of a fight night type quality. Let me check one thing before we end this stream. There are some very crappy main events coming up. Santos versus Walker, Smith versus Spann. Yeah, it's kind of disgusting. I don't know why the UFC is doing this, but it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. Hopefully, towards the end of the year, we get some really stacked cards. Honestly, I think Oliveira will beat Poirier. I agree with you 100%. I think Charles Oliveira beats Poirier, but it's going to be a fun fight. I think either guy can win. Well, all right, guys. I think that wraps it up for this stream. We've gone over 2 hours. I thank all of you guys for joining me for this stream. Don't forget, if you ever want an MMA Joey t-shirt, the link is in the description. Follow me on Twitter. The link is in the description. Later tonight or tomorrow, I will open up memberships for future. You get loyalty badges for future live chats and custom emojis. So when you guys see that, I will post. As soon as it's ready, I will post it in the community tab. Join the MMA Joey membership, and you can help support the channel. I appreciate all the questions today. Don't forget to like the video, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Hopefully some news comes out soon, and I'll be talking to you guys before you know it. Again, thank you guys so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your night.